Okay, everyone, I wanted to show you something about getting up and started with basic concepts and practices, best practices in page layout. Doesn't matter if you're using InDesign or something else for your project, then I want to give you a basic rundown for page layout, things to keep in mind. First of all, you should keep all of your assets in a project folder. Okay, what this means is on the job you have to stay organized. So for example, if you have a project that you're doing, like I do, a magazine layout, I would have a project folder and it would contain my images. It would also contain any articles, anything pertaining to the job itself, even notes and things like that. We'll take a look at a project that I've done before in just a moment here so you can see the folder structure. Next, you need to gather assets of a project in advance as much as possible. Your articles, advertisements, anything about your vendors, quotes, images, illustrations, logos, and even your comp images, or in other words, these are images we might use as a placeholder, either a low resolution or a sketch. We still need those all together in the same place. Your layout and production, as a result, will go much, much faster. If you have everything you need to do the page layout will go much faster. And it's important on the job as a graphic designer that you speed up your production process. You also need to design the work. You need to have a plan, in other words. We never, or we rarely ever, go with a page layout or a design without having something in mind already. You do your thumbnail sketches and design work. Doing design on the fly, that's what I call it when we just throw things together. It's not something that a client will appreciate very much. Now, as a seasoned designer, for me, I can do some design on the fly, but as a best practice, design work is a normal process, and it counts as billable hours. It means that the client knows and approves of what they are purchasing. In other words, we're doing customized work. So let's say you have a client and you tell them, well, I've got this design in mind and we talked about the job, and so you're going to see what it looks like when I'm done and you're going to pay for it. No, your client is not going to go for that. They need some sketches and they know what direction you're headed and they're happy to pay for the job. Lastly, the specifications. You need to know the specifications of the document or documents that you're producing ahead of time. It's part of your design process. As you're doing sketches, as you're talking to the client, you're making decisions about the end production. So we need to know these things so that we can put together the document according to our specifications. How many pages is the job? What size is the page or pages, or the different parts of the project? Is it one or two sides that are being printed? How is it being produced? What kind of paper? Are you going to be producing it on plastic? Are you going to be producing it on newspaper? These things matter because your artwork will reflect what types of artwork and how you prepare your artwork to become the assets of the projects. Is it landscape or portrait? Will we need a bleed edge? That bleed edges take extra paper and they cost extra too. Are we limited in colors? Do we use processed color, which is full color, like for full color pictures, or are we limited to 1 or 2 ink colors? Do we have a specialty color in addition? Do we match company colors? So you need to know the specifications in order to prepare your layout. We don't just throw things together because we have to take color into consideration, the type of process that we're going to have the end result in order to meet our goals. Okay, let's take a look at, real briefly, folder structure. This is how I usually work it. And I have jobs that I do, and I even do a set of invoices and quotes and receipts and all that kind of stuff. I have mine divided up by client. So because I'm a freelancer, the client gets a new number or something like that. I work for Grand Valley State University, Colleagues Magazine. I've been doing for the last 10 years, 2 issues a year usually. And so this is the structure I come across. So I've put together usually a folder for the client, and inside of the folder is usually other folders. This one contains advertisements, because someone may do an advertisement and send you a finished work to put into a publication that you do. You might not do the advertisement, you might just place it. Articles, these are written by other people. You may end up writing articles for something, who knows. But the text for it is all prepared and coming from different people, so I have to collect those in advance. Then the documents itself, the InDesign page layout documents, I have one that is for the publication, and then I turn it into a web publication where I cut down the sizes of the images. I usually also have comp images, which are just placeholder. They might be low resolution or sketches or things like that. So ones that don't go into the publication, or they don't make it into the publication, we sometimes do cover options and things like that. Okay, the images folder, of course, contains all images. You might separate your original Photoshop files. I don't tend to do that on this project. Here's a Photoshop file. This one is the stock photography, let's see, originals, and then different sizes that I have utilized here. Then also I do a collection of PDFs, so anything that you do a number of that you want to collect as and organize, you want to make a folder structure. I also have a set of template images that go on every issue, so I bring those along with the job just so I make sure that I have it and it gets collected. So logos that go on every publication, then I put those together as well. Now this is just an idea of a folder structure, but do you notice that I don't have my comp images and articles and ads all over the place in the computer. It is according to this particular job. Okay, so that's basic concepts and best practices for getting started in page layout. In the next video, we're going to open a document and do a run through on a page layout, just so you can see that process of putting something together. Page layout really does go fairly quickly once you have a plan in place, and it can be a pleasure to do.